Hi everybody, it's Miss Holly coming to you live from my natural habitat. I am in my house, in my kitchen, and today, like I told you at my last story time, we're going to be learning how to make homemade clay hearts using all natural ingredients, everything you should already have at home. It's just 4 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of warm water, and a cup of salt. It's that easy. And today we're going to use some food coloring because I would like my clay hearts to have a little color to them. And then I will write my inspirational word like we talked about on them before I get ready to either air dry or bake them. There's options. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so what I have here is my flour, salt, food coloring, and I already have 1.5 cups of warm water in the bowl and my cup of salt. So I'm going to add that. That's your first step. This is great for kids to do at home. Let's get out what we got in there. Okay. And then you're going to want to give it a stir. Start letting the salt mix into the water. And then we're going to add a little food coloring at this point. It's easier to do it here rather than try and mix it into the flour. And I love to do homemade projects that involve different types of food coloring and ingredients that you have at home. They come out very simple, and actually if you're doing Play-Doh, which I know Mr. John did recently, the Play-Doh comes out so much nicer when you make it homemade. So I think the clay hearts will come out pretty well too. All right, we're going to do 10 drops of blue. I would like my hearts to be blue. So you can count with me, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put the cap on that, and then we're going to give it another stir, and we're going to let it sit just for a little bit to work together. And then we're going to be putting in the 4 cups of flour, and then at that point we're going to knead that. You'll need to knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. So it seems long, but when you're working with your kids at home, it's gonna go quick. Playing and doing projects with kids always goes much quicker than I think it's gonna go. All right, the water is a little bit cooler. It's kind of just lukewarm now. So we're gonna add in the 4 cups of flour. I pre-measured it and I just put it in my glass measuring cup. So we're gonna add it. Mix it. Okay. You're going to want to mix it a little slowly, right? Because whenever you add something dry into a liquid, you don't want it splashing all over. Hey, hi Sebastian. My cat's here today helping me out. I have 2 cats, for those of you that didn't know. I have Moose, who's a kitten. We rescued him from the SPCA a year ago. And I have Sebastian. I don't know if you can see, but he's behind me. He's getting a little snack right now. Little Sebastian, you can't eat that food though, buddy. Okay. Okay, we're gonna keep mixing. And it's starting to turn blue. It's looking good. It's gonna start to actually smell, if you ever made homemade Play-Doh, it smells like homemade Play-Doh. Right? So you're gonna keep mixing it. Okay. Oop. Alright, so we're gonna knead it now. I'm gonna use my hands because that usually works a little bit better. What is it, buddy? Huh? What do you say? There we go. And the way I'm going to use my old idea of when I make homemade Play-Doh, if it starts to seem like it's too dry, I add a little bit of water. If it seems too sticky, I'll add a little bit more flour. I kind of just do it until it feels right. And then once it starts to feel not too sticky and nice and smooth, then I turn it out and I knead it, okay? this actually does seem a little bit dry. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of warm water and add it in, and then we're gonna knead it. What is it, bud? You had dinner. All right. So let's add a little bit of water. Not too much. And we're gonna knead it a little bit more. All right. I don't know if you guys know this about Miss Holly, but I like messy art. And I tend to get messy when I'm doing the messy part. But that's the best part, right? All my friends at home that come in for our programs and story times, you know how fun it is to do art projects that require a little mess. Right. Okay. So for those of you that are just joining in, we're making clay hearts today, and what we're going to do with them is put a kind word or an inspirational word on them. It could also be a picture. I know a lot of people that are home right now are doing pictures of rainbows just to spread a little hope and love right now while we're all stuck at home. So, and then once you make the clay heart and it's ready to go, you can send it to Adrian's library. So it can be either people that attend programs at Boardman Library, which is in Poughkeepsie, New York, or it can be people from Adrian's library. And we'd love to see some of our old friends bring their artwork in. And then what we're gonna do is make a little display, so that way when you come in and we reopen, you'll be able to come in and find your clay heart, and you can also look for other people's hearts too, and see what a nice job the whole community did, you know, just to spread a little love and hope, right? Okay. All right, it's getting a little better. So I think I'm getting close to turning it out and just kneading it with my hands. Let's see if I got a little bit more water. Should feel a little elasticy, not too overly sticky. And you're just going to keep kneading it. Right? I'm going to move my bowl aside. There we go. Just try that up a little bit. There we go. All right, let's see. Oh, it actually is doing good. I like to use the palms of my hands and push in, right, boys and girls? Probably a lot of you have made cookies at home, or maybe homemade bread. That always smells good when it's cooking. So you want to turn your dough and keep pushing down with the heels of your hands. And then let it all get mixed in. So should start to come together, and you should stop seeing the white of the flour, right? I can see a little bit, but it's not bad. I did 8 to 10 minutes of kneading, and this is what I came up with. Yours will probably look the same unless you use a different color, right? But it feels like clay, and I can feel it's a little firm, but I'm gonna roll it out a little bit. I have a roller I'm going to use to roll it a little flatter before I cut my hearts out, and I couldn't find my heart cookie cutter, and you don't need one, so I just took out a butter knife. So just make sure you're working with your parents or your grandparents, your aunt, your uncle, and be careful, okay? And then I also have a number 2 pencil, which I'm going to use at the end when I make my clay heart to put a little hole in the top. That way, if I want to string my hearts up and make a display that hangs, I can do that. So if yours could look like that too, I can hang a bunch up in the library, and then we can find each other's, right? Because we were talking before about making a display at Adrian's library, a community display of love and hope, just to inspire people and make them feel better. So when you're ready to make your heart and cut it out, and you're ready to put a decoration on it, it could be a word that you use a pencil with and you draw the letters into the clay heart. It could also be, it could be a rainbow, right? You could make the grooves for the rainbow with your pencil with the eraser end, and then you could paint the colors of the rainbow on there if you have paints at home. I imagine too that once the clay dries out, you could also use marker on those grooves and color your rainbow in that way, right? There's all different ways to make art. And I'm sure you guys probably have your own ideas at home, better than even Miss Holly's. So I'm just working the dough to make it a tiny bit thinner because it's a lot of dough actually. So if you have more than one child at home, moms, this clay will be enough to make several hearts, which is nice. It's just something different, nice that the kids can do at home. And it's easy. You should have all these ingredients, right? We just use flour, salt, and water, so it's so easy. And food coloring. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to trace a heart. Right, so you're gonna want to work with your parent or your grandparents or whoever it is that's with you that day. Help you with the knife a little bit. Let's see what mine comes out like. And then I'm just kind of like pushing my way through the clay, pushing down a little bit. Then I'm going to lift up the clay that's around it. Take it out, right? And this is plenty of clay. So if you're worried about what your heart looks like when you take it out, don't worry because you have plenty. You can redo it, right? Just like you do with Play-Doh. All right, so let me put this ball over here. And this is my heart, right here. Just done, can you see that? I like how it came out. Not perfect, but I like it like that. All right, and what I'm gonna do last is take the bottom end of my pencil, see the eraser end? And I'm going to put a hole not too close to the top of the heart because I don't want it to rip before it dries, but like right below. I'm just going to pick up the heart a little bit and make sure the pencil has poked through. So there's, I don't know if you can see it, let's get close. There it is, a little hole in the heart, right? So that way if we want to hang them later, we can. So now at this point, you can write a word. I'm probably going to go ahead and write the word love. And that's going to be my word. And then I'm going to let it air dry. So you can do this two ways. You can let it air dry. It's going to take about 3 days. Let it sit out somewhere where if you have pets, they can't get at it, or your brother and sister. You can also bake it. Okay. So if you're going to bake it, I would do it at 175 degrees. Keep your oven lower. Have mom or dad help you put it on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper, right? It would look just like this. If I was gonna bake it, here's my cookie sheet with my parchment so it won't stick to the pan. And then I put my heart on there, 175 degrees. And I would just watch it. You're gonna notice that it will start to look drier. You don't want it to get to the point where it's cracking because it might crumble away. So just keep a close eye on it and just make sure it's firm and keep a close eye and then you're good. All right, and then the most important part will be to send it in to Adrian's Memorial Library. So in a manila envelope and probably a manila envelope, I'm thinking. So our address is 93 Market Street, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12601. If some of you are interested in dropping the hearts off, please call the library at 485-3445 and speak to someone, okay? But until then, I hope you have fun making clay hearts. I hope you do make them and bring them in, or send them in, drop them off, so that we can make a display. Okay. And I just want to let everybody know that I've missed seeing you. I've missed doing our crafts together, so this was a nice way to get together. And I guess I will be seeing you soon. I'll see what other crafts I can come up with. All right, boys and girls, love you. Bye.